I'm Robin Hoffman. I'm a public artist here in Charlottesville. And some people might ask, what's a public artist? Well, a public artist is somebody who can be an advocate for people's neighborhoods in that you never know, like you might have an idea. When you paint and things like that, a lot of times what happens is you become creative, and so you have ideas. And the reason why you have ideas is because you have to think a lot to paint or to create something. You know, you have to use every single part of your brain. And the public, being a public artist, you know, I listen to a lot of things that are happening. I want to know what's happening in my city. I want to know what's happening in my country. And then I want to know if I can be a part of making changes and challenges. And because of climate issues and things like that, a lot of our resources are being, reallocated. So for instance, where we used to get in our cars and we used to be able to drive and we used to be able to go wherever we wanted just to get some gasoline or whatever, we can't do that anymore. We have to conserve energy. And also, I don't know why, but people feel like they can go to their colleges and then stay there, you know, somewhere Massachusetts, and they live in Charlottesville. I feel like everybody should go to college here. There's a pretty good school here, and then everybody's family can stay together or whatever. But besides that, we have to change the way we use our resources. So if we're using paints, for instance, I try to use boards, and this is from a dumpster. This is like, you know, the construction guys' buckets, but it's so good. It's better than the big pallets. The big pallets have, like, you know, to me it's cumbersome. I'm usually outside, and when I use this, it's just very handy. And also, I use acrylic paints. Acrylic paints are recyclable. And you could just put this in the recyclable, and it can be shredded up to be used for something else. And then I use these boards. These are from dumpster diving. And so again, construction sites, they cut something off, and then it would have to go through a recycling center. So instead, I just make sure that I have it handy in my house. I just like, you know, store them, get them ready. I have to prime them. So just like you would in your house, you know, I actually prime the canvas with something that's not porous. It's going to allow my paint to be able to be true. So, for instance, if you use watercolors and you work on white, some of the paint, the pigment, is going to go right into the paper. It's not going to stay in the in its true form. It's going to have some dilution. And so with boards, it's porous, it's wood. And the masonite is something traditionally artists use, especially going on trips and landscaping and things like that, because it's so good. You can just like put a whole bunch of them when you're done. And then, you know, you only have to have like one sort of basket to put it in or whatever. So you learn, you know, to be portable. And the same thing about resourcefulness. If you teach or whatever, you know, or if you're a mom, whatever, you become very resourceful with everything you do. You know, you go to the shopping, you don't just go shopping, you usually go because you have to go and buy something. So, what happened to me was I decided,
Hi.
Hi, Gabby.
How are you?
What a surprise. This is Gabby.
Hello.
And so you are from?
Charlottesville.
And you you came on like the spur of the moment lunch break today, yes?
Yes,
You
very
are
true.
so nice. And I have a dilemma, and you're here to help me.
All right, what can I do?
Oh my God. Okay, so what I've been thinking about, like I go to city council sometimes, and I listen to a lot of issues, especially with environment, whatever. And so it's been decided that they're going to redo Friendship Court or Garrett Square. And they already have like plans for a building and that sort of thing. But unfortunately and fortunately, the buildings aren't going to be done like right away. And then in increments. And in the meantime, I went to look at them because I know also that they have an urban garden there, and they make food, real food. Like, sweet potatoes and collard greens and all kinds of greens, like really good food. And it's called urban gardening and everything else. I don't know how many years ago they started it. But the thing is, I had this idea. What if every one of the neighbors was given a choice of color for their building? Like, what if you just ask them, what color would you want your exterior to be? And the reason I thought of that was because they all look alike. And it's true, like in complexes in the cities, if they make everything in uniform, people don't know how to say, oh, come to my house, but it's the one on the right. No, not that one, So the way I thought that might be able to make a distinction was if in fact they got a color paint. So I went around there and I asked the neighbors. I actually walked around there and said, if somebody stood out their house, I said, hi. And then, so what I thought was like, we could just we'll just make the houses the way, any other color than the way they are.
All right.
So tell me about yourself.
I'm going to be 28 in April.
Oh.
I have a son who is going to be 8 in August.
Oh.
I do advertising at Seaville Weekly.
Oh.
I actually paint in my free time.
Oh my goodness.
A lot. And I have more art at my house than I know what to do with, so it's getting to a point where I have to sell it.
Oh my goodness. This is so awesome. So you obviously appreciate aesthetics.
Yeah.
How important it is.
I wear a lot of black, but all of my paintings are all very colorful.
Oh. And so when did you decide that, painting was important to you?
I started taking it in high school. I took art all 4 years, and then it just kind of stuck with me because it was something I could do when I was stressed out or, needed an activity to do. And it's also something I can share with my son because he likes art, so.
Oh my goodness, that's so awesome.
What about you?
Oh, well, so I've been painting also. It was because of my mom. My mom was an artist, and like you, she made me paint everywhere. So like when we would go in the summertime somewhere, I'd be, and it's kind of cute thinking about it because, as big as I am, I was like a 7-year-old, with the easel, and then my mom, and we were standing there and we were painting the mountains or whatever. Yeah, it's really good that you do that. So why did you think, or did your son decide, or did you just say, here's paints?
I've tried a lot of different art things with him. So painting was just the thing he liked the most because you can do so much with it and you're not stuck with one thing that you can do sometimes like you are with drawing. So he picked it up like I did, and that ended up being his favorite thing, so it was something we ended up doing together.
And so now what I'm thinking also is that children are interested in fast results.
Yeah.
It's like some don't have patience to like really explore, paint or whatever. Do you find that is the case with your son?
No, once he's done, he's usually pretty done, and he waits for it to dry, and then he wants to go and figure out where he can put it in the house and display it, or who he can give it to. He's not always quick to keep everything that he makes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think what happens a lot of times with kids is that, well, rightfully so, that they don't really need to, think that they're going to put it in a museum or whatever. It's just, it is what it is. It's just, and I think that that's pretty much why I still paint, because I just feel like what my result is what it is. I don't really care about it being in a gallery or this or that. So, but did you reach some kind of, so I want to say it like, as a painter myself, I sort of, after a while, like all of a sudden, everything I did became, how do you say, like my right hand. Like, I just expected to do it. I didn't have to question it. But I've been doing things in the public, so it's not always just about like enjoying myself, going down the river in a canoe and painting. That sort of thing. But but do you aspire to like going to certain places or certain sceneries or something like that makes you excited by now?
I don't necessarily paint scenery. Scenery is not really like what I gravitate towards.
Okay.
I do like a lot of 60s inspired art with like pictures of people with like little details inside of them, like other things like stars or patterns. I'm better at people than I am buildings.
So I actually went to an exhibit at the bridge. Did you ever go to the bridge underneath the Avon Bridge?
I know where it is, but I have never been.
I just went there, I want to say Saturday, I don't even know, but because I went to a funeral, it threw me off. But anyway, yeah, I just went there and they had a show. It's what you were saying just now. Somebody from India came here, went to school, and she stayed. And so they had a bunch of, I'm gonna say about 10 artists on exhibit, and then they had a talk, and I was at the talk. I think it was Sunday. And the talk was about what inspired them, why they decided to do what they did. And this person from India did what you said. Her image was flat. The portrait was flat. The background was flat. There was no dimension to it except for little nuanced like flowers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which moved it. It was
it
nice.
Black and white?
No, it had color. It had color. But it was that the nuance was the stars and things that she put in the background.
Cool.
Sort of gave it depth. But like where you live, for instance, right now, or where you ever lived, do you like consider what your neighborhood looks like as a whole, or you just like go in your house, go to work, and that's all?
Not so much where I live now, but where I grew up. I grew up in Earlysville. And for me, it's like there's my house, but like Earlysville is a whole neighborhood, so it's its own thing.
Yes.
And a lot of people, unless you live there, you don't really like know.
Yes. True. I actually know a potter from Earlysville, Susan. Feel embarrassed just now, but anyway, she became a potter from PVCC, from the community college here, who has apparently a really great studio for learning or for doing pottery, but for also learning not just the wheel, but building slabs into like sculptures and that sort of thing. And so, are you having fun with this this prime thing?
Yes,
Isn't
I
it
mean, it's
making a
not like
nice
my greatest
texture?
thing, but I like all the colors.
Like, how about the texture when you paint?
Yes,
It's like
the
cool,
lines.
right? Yeah,
you don't have
the
to work
lines
so
are there,
hard to
right.
work with
I'm
the brush.
like not even doing anything, and it's being painted. So yeah, so another thing that's happened to me when I was walking in this neighborhood, since we're sitting in this neighborhood in Garrett, yeah. So this is called Garrett Square. And what happened was, apparently over the years, it's sort of been like changing. It changed a lot. I actually spoke to the people that live there, and some lived there for 30 years, some lived there for like a few years, some 10 years, whatever. So, and then those are the people I said, you know, I said, if you had any color, so they gave me some ideas, so I'm ahead of you. So they said, you know, some people said things like, so each one of those, I guess, beige, it's called T11. That's like panel in the front of it. Each one of them is actually a unit. But if you go in the middle of Garrett Square, in the center where the playground is and other things, those are apartments. So these are like whole houses, townhouses on the outside, and then those are apartments. And those were harder to make one person because you'd have to go like upstairs with your color and then come back down this way.
They do have a
windows were-
mural over there, the honeycomb mural with the bees on the side of the building.
Do you know who did it?
No, I don't, but it's pretty cool. I drive past that every day on my way to work.
Yeah, so it makes a difference. They're having this big debate about the one that's going to be on the dairy house or whatever.
Dairy Market?
Yeah, dairy market house. Yeah, the dairy market, somebody, you know, designed a mural, and now the neighbors are not happy apparently. But, you know, they want something that says something about them being a neighborhood or whatever. You know, Charlottesville changed a lot. Right?
Yeah, I've lived here for a really long time, and most of my jobs have been downtown, so like seeing not just downtown, but the neighborhoods like where people park their cars change throughout the years it's different to see how much things have changed, especially where they're building the new building over by the parking garage and the train track now. Watched that develop over the last few months, and now when I drive by it, it's like you can't see the parking garage anymore because it's
it's what the heck, you know, because first of all, when I moved here in 2006, I didn't understand any of it because I'm from Brooklyn. So some people were like, so I was with my husband at the time, we were in Orbits on the corner.
Oh yeah.
And it was pool, we were playing pool. You know, it wasn't like this like hyped up stuff where you go in there and you just drink and then leave. This was more like a community thing. Did you used to go there at all? You're very young. So
I
don't
am
know.
very young.
You wouldn't have gone there when we went there. But anyway, so it was kind of like the first inkling that Charlottesville was more like everybody knew each other.
Yeah, everyone. I have gone to California and I've met people that I know, or not know, but like they're from the town, and we'd have a lot to talk about. Or like if I go to the beach, I'll run into someone that maybe went to JMU but comes to Charlottesville on the weekend, so you can't really like escape it.
True. It's so funny. But what did you, what were some of your childhood experiences that are not there anymore?
Spud Nuts is not there anymore.
Oh, Spud Nuts.
Spud Nuts. In Earlysville, there was it was a grocery store. It was called White's. My dad worked there when he was in high school, and that's gone now. The building is still there, but it's I think it's an auto body shop now. There's also a store called Out of the Box where they would sell like vintage things or reusable household items. That's gone. The building is still there, but now it's also something different.
So what do you think about that? Like, it's almost like, everywhere I've been in my life is not there anymore, right? It's like places, the only place that stayed the same, my mom used to take us to Vermont in the summertime because she liked to paint there, but also as a teacher, we were able to take off in the summer. So, but what happened was Vermont, because of Bernie Sanders, first of all, they have universal health care, 1991, since 1990. So does Romney in Massachusetts, right? They got to elect it, so in Arkansas too. And then also he's mostly solar, as a senator, he's mostly solar now in Vermont. But all throughout, it was Republican, and then it became it changed a little bit, but not really. It's mostly Republican in Vermont. But what happened was the ideas changed. They realized that if they saved, like their houses are old and they were leaky, if they, changed up their fireplace, if they changed to LED lights, they wouldn't be sitting there spending all their money on fuel. And but so anyway, it was an easy sell. And so most of Vermont is solar, but also they never let chain stores in or malls.
I think Charlottesville's pretty unique. We have a fair amount of chain stores, things that you need like Walmart, but we also have a lot of great things that are different than a lot of other places. And yeah, the city's changed over the years, but it's the same thing you're saying, like updating and renovating or like just fixing some of the things we already have could make the city last longer. And the neighborhoods are still there. The people in community together or standing up for each other, that's still Charlottesville. So I don't think that changing things on the outside is going to change who we are on the inside.
Yeah, thank you for that, because no, I never really thought about it like that, but it's true. That is the characteristic of Charlottesville, like you said it. It's that people, it's their home, number one, but also they realize that if they don't stand up for themselves, nobody else is, because nobody cares as much as they do about their families and all that sort of stuff. And that's unique. A lot of times people's neighborhoods or communities change because people don't, I guess they don't know how to articulate it, or they just feel like, okay, that's the end, let's move. That sort of. But yeah, it's kind of an allegiance, that sort of thing, where like a lot of people, if somebody passes away, somebody needs some kind of, health care or something like that, right?
Yeah, you need to have a backup plan for whatever happens.
And when the Nazis came, I was in my house in Willow Mills at the time. I used to live in the county, but then I moved to Willow Mills. Anyway, so the Nazis came August 12, 2017, and I was invited to the ministry in the morning, and then I said, I can't go. I'm gonna punch a Nazi in the head. I'm gonna be in jail. I won't be any good to anybody. And then I was like, too many people I knew were on the phone. So I was watching the whole thing from their phone and my computer. And then I went outside and I said, okay, I'm gonna go. So, it was like one reason or another I didn't go downtown, so to speak. Also, people were coming through my neighborhood.
To get downtown.
To get away from downtown. And so I was like having conversations on my fence. It's like, all this stuff was going on. But what I want to say is, I also was involved, like in the beginning, when, because Charlottesville Public Access TV had a DVD recorder thing. So I was in City Hall, and I was like talking to everybody, and then I was like part of like some of the seminars, like when, July happened, when they started coming like insidiously, and of course Jason Stupid Head inviting everybody and all that sort of stuff. So I kept telling the manager about it, that people, first of all, in February, were being detained by ISIS for headlights, and they were being brought to Albemarle County for the, like, what the hell?
It wasn't here when it happened?
Yes.
I was out of town?
Okay, so,
But the reaction from people where I was asking, where are you from? And me saying to a new place that I just moved to, I'm from Charlottesville. And then being like, oh, you're one of those people. I was like, no, that doesn't represent what Charlottesville is about at all. Those people aren't even from here, so it's weird.
it's weird. And I was at the city council the other day, and because they had those guns in Richmond. Mm-hmm. I said, that wasn't peaceful. What do you mean peaceful? Like the media all over, except for the BBC. The BBC said this was like scary, which it is. Like that you can have people with military grade guns who don't know how to use them. Like who teaches them? It comes, and so I asked actually Chief Brackney, our chief of police, right after I said all that, and I said, what the heck? How come these people can like walk across state lines with these big guns? I don't even know where they put them. Do they put them in their trunk? Do they have them like on their seat? And like when they get home, like where do they put them? Do they have to have a special room? Like why? And also, like if they just use it for 1 second, they're gonna like, destroy like a lot of things. And that's called weapons of mass destruction. She said, because they don't call them that. That's how it happened. Is that Congress said they're sporting guns.
So it's all based on their perception?
That's how they got it, so that they couldn't have the Russians and the Hungarians are the ones that are sending them. Yeah, they come in boxes that say Hungary and Russia. And then just like walk around with them. They're bigger than they are. Seriously? Why would you want that? Except to like sort of show your prowess or whatever it's called. All right, but we're having such a good talk. And I'm so glad to have met you.
Thank you for having me.
And we have to wrap this up in like 30 seconds.
Hi, Cooper.
So what I wanted to say to you is thank you so much, Gabby, for being so brave. I just said, would you like to come and be here today? And you go, I guess so. So well, let's show our paintings.
I did it.
So here we go. We're going to show our paintings. Yay! So this could be the new neighborhood with a can of paint.
Very colorful.
Yay, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really nice to meet you.